Hi, I'm Murray Smith, part of the Harbro Beef and Sheep team. Today we're here at Buccleuch Estate and we're going to speak to Finlay Cairns about the sheep enterprise. Right, Finlay, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Firstly, thank you very much for having us here today at Buccleuch Estate. Would you mind giving us just a bit of an insight to what you do here at Buccleuch?
Here at Bow Hill, we're running roughly 8,500 ewes, 500 suckler cows, 300 red deer hinds and 32,000 free-range laying hens. The sheep system runs a fairly traditional stratified system with flocks of blackface ewes and South Country Cheviots. They're then crossed out to Innovis maternal type tups, Abertexes and Aberdales mostly, to feed into the low ground flock of ewes that are put to terminal tups to create fat lambs.
How long have you been using the Innovis type rams?
About 10 years now.
10 years.
Yep.
Working in quite well?
Going well, yep.
Yes.
Aye. Yeah, just a emphasis on functional genetics serves as well.
What's the main end product that you're trying to produce?
So we are aiming for fat lambs for just a commercial flock. The in-buy flock is a fully terminal sired flock. There's no replacements from that. The hill flocks are crossed 3/4 pure to blackface or cheviot and about 1/4 to Innovis tups, either Abertex or Aberdales.
Forage is a big part of what you do here at the estate. How does that fit in?
We mob up for rotations about a month post-lambing, and the ewes will rotate round paddocks until spaining time. We'll chuck the ewes onto rough ground and keep the lambs on good grass on aftermaths.
When are you starting to kind of wean your lowland flock?
In-buy ewes are weaned aiming for kind of middle of August. That gives us a good growth of aftermaths to wean onto. Hill flocks will start weaning a fortnight, 3 weeks after that.
How are lambs managed from there?
So at weaning time, we'll run all the lambs over an auto drafter into heavies, mediums and lights. The heavies being anything over 36 kilos, and they're prioritised onto the best forage to get them away as quick as possible. Medium lambs will feed into the heavies, and lighter lambs, sort of your 28, 30 kilos, they'll go away onto some older grass just to grow frame, and we'll come back to them closer to Christmas time. So we grow roughly 180 acres of kale every year. So the lambs will start transitioning onto kale around now, sort of end of October, start of November, and we'll trickle feed, heaviest lambs on first.
Mm-hmm.
Try and keep the light lambs off kale for as long as possible. By the turn of the year, everything will be on crop.
Why are you using kale?
Primarily for the yield benefit. We've tried rapes and things in the past which have been good, but they just don't yield well enough, and I feel they're not quite as palatable for really eating down into the stock. You can graze kale right through to end of March.
Yeah.
It's very winter hardy.
Where does using a wee bit of feed fit into the system?
We use it as an addition to forage rather than a forage replacer. Most of the summer we'll have pet lambs in the shed on creep feed, and rigs, reject up lambs, things like that. They'll go into hoppers in a shed just locked away. But generally we won't put hoppers out to lambs until end of January, something like that. We find with blacky weathers, they start to frame, they start to grow horn, and they just need that extra push to put a finish on them.
You've been using Harbro Lamb Feeder the last couple of years, Finlay. How do you feel it's been working for you?
I feel the feed conversion ratio is better than anything I've tried previously. We're probably hitting 4-to-1, 5-to-1 feed conversion ratio, which in blacky weathers is a pretty tough ask. Also with pet lambs in the shed, we don't really mess around with starter pellets, anything like that. We'll just go straight in with the Harbro.
Lamb feeder contains RumiTech in there, and how that improves the feed efficiency by 10%. Do you feel you see that in the lambs?
It's the most efficient feed that I've used in the past. Young lambs, pet lambs, are going onto the creep and they're not blowing up. They're not. Yeah. So that has to be good rumen health. From a environmental point of view, we're running quite efficiently for what we're feeding. Less methane.
You've just touched on sustainability there. How important do you feel that is to the estate?
We try and limit feed as much as possible, but we're not averse to it. We use it as an addition to forage rather than a forage replacer.
Yeah.
The lamb creep sort of ticks both boxes. It's a very efficient feed, benefiting us financially and environmentally.
What is the next step for the sheep enterprise here at Buccleuch?
The future is very much more of the same, just trying to drive efficiencies, make the best from forage, keep improving as much as we can, whether that's through genetics or grazing management. There's always improvements to be made.
Yeah. It's good to hear. It's definitely very much a four-pillar approach. You've got nutrition, you've got genetics, you've got management, and you've got health. So I'm pleased to hear that everything's going well and you've got plenty to look forward in the future.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.